Hey all, Ted Simpson here. Ready to do another awesome painting with me? I hope you are enjoying yourself today. Nice summer day here in Michigan. Getting over some rain, but the sun's trying to come out. You need the rain, you need the bad days with the good days, right? That's what Bob taught us. And he also taught us every day is a good day to paint. So it doesn't matter if it's raining out or it's nice out. Break out your brushes, pause the video at times, and paint along with me and see what happens. I'll bet we'll have a good time. Very, very thin coat of the liquid white. Oh, see? That's a little too much. I'm going to move the light here, shine on it a little brighter here. There we go. So when I give it a little tap, you can see how much liquid white I put on there. And so I just take my paper towel, I give it a quick once over here. I think a little extra wet paint from my previous painting is out there on the easel a little bit. There we go. Now let's see how much we get. Clean my fingers off. Much less. Much less. So, boy, I got some dirty brushes here. I'm just going to kind of use up some of the paint that I had left over from the last painting and add a little new here and there. So, right off the bat, we use that 2-inch brush here, work a little bit of color. Well, what do you say we make a nice little scene here? That's good enough. Maybe just a little pink over here as well. The more I work it, the softer it gets. Clean your brush a little bit. Go over it, and you can soften it and make it whatever shade you like. And then we're going to come back with a little bit of the phthalo blue. Just a little bit. I'm going to try to avoid a little green I had there. Don't want the green sky today. Maybe next time. Bringing it down so it's just overlapping the pink a little bit. Not worrying about it too much. I'm not sure what that is. A little flaw in the canvas, I think. And there we go. Very pastel here today. Just letting it drift over that pink until it somewhat purplizes itself. There we go. I think maybe a little bolder over on that corner. Ooh, there we go. That boldens it right out. That changes the whole look. Just a heartbeat. There we go. Simple sky. Simple. And, at any point, you can look at it and say, nope, I do want it a little darker. Look at that. Super simple. All done. I was thinking maybe kind of do this when we have water and you just want to make a little bit of moving water. That same stroke here, it's just sort of scratching across the canvas. Look at how we just lay on a little lazy cloud here. Just giving it a rub. Wipe my knife clean. And now I could just rub this and it just disappears. You know, the more you work it, the more it just melts right into the sky. Rub a little color on. And just have cloud after cloud after cloud. All this lazy lazy cloud effect. And since I have this brush here, a couple of light drifting strokes, it sets it down into the scene, and we got our sky. Look how simple that is. So, boy, I really should have cleaned up the palette. Well, I'm going to try to work around myself and see what I can do. You never know what you can do here until you try. Can you work a dirty palette? I think we can. I'll take a little bit of that crimson, a bit of the phthalo blue, and let's dull it down with a little bit of Van Dyke brown. So, you know, the crimson and blue make a purple. Mine's a little to the blue side of purple. Add a little bit of crimson there. And then the brown just dulls everything out. We're not going to use very much of it, but we got it just in case. Pull some of that out nice and flat, and scrape off our little roll. And we're going to have another little ridge of mountains here. And just sort of push and let your knife just kind of dance and make some kind of interesting outer edge. It's all I care about is having a dark, distinct line to get us started. Maybe a little taller, and then it comes down out to the right a little bit. Maybe it changes here. Get a little peak going up here a little higher. And we just move down the right side, going a little higher. You know, just got to figure out where you want these things. Come down here. Darn near killed off all the pink I put in the sky. Oh well. It happens. It was fun putting it on. Maybe we'll see a little over here. But yeah, that really did just get covered up, didn't it? Ah, well, things happen. Pushing some color on, scraping the excess away. And we'll use this big old 2-inch brush to move some color. Ooh, this is a big brush. To be honest here, I'm using the big brush to cover up a lot of that pink, since we're not going to have that as a sky color any longer. Not a dominant one anyway. And just moving the brush to the right or to the left. Create some interesting angles that we can use to guide our highlights, guide the shadows. Okay. So, while we're on the subject of dirty palettes here, nothing stopping you from cleaning off your palette completely and starting from scratch. It's what I usually do. But I thought I could get this all done with the same colors. It was just too contaminated. Now I've got my color up here. Cut off my little roll of paint. And let's just focus those light little touches. A little bit of highlight on each of our peaks to get something started. No pressure, very, very light touch. I think before I do too much else, we're going to have a little bit of a shadow color here. So let's just make it up now. A little shadow. Phthalo blue, touch of Prussian blue. There we go. Look at that. Nice instant shadow color. So now I can play around back and forth. bits of highlight, little bits of shadow on each of my peaks. And I go back to the highlights. Sometimes I do all the highlights at once. Sometimes I'll go back and forth. It's whatever you're looking for, but as long as you keep those strokes ever so gentle, it's going to look right. It's going to look awesome. It's going to look like craggy snow breaking out on all these distant ridges. Go ahead and just throw a little highlight to the right, and then you come back and you sneak a little bit of shadow going the opposite direction. If need be, use that small edge of your knife. It's easier to do small amounts with the short edge. And then when you have room and a little bit bigger area to fill in, that's when the long edge of the knife works. At any point here, you can see how I'm just coming across that shadow side, but pulling to the right, adding to that little ridge, and then make sure to clean. Oh, wrong color. What happened there? There we go. We have our shadow. I think there was a little bit of white hidden underneath my shadow color. So we'll pull out a little bit more. There we go. And keep the shadow color shadowy. There we go. There's another little outcropping. And you can just dance this around and you keep going over it how many times, you know? As many times as you want. You know, Bob just left these open areas, you know? They're your good friends or something along those lines. You know, you leave that little bit of open area and that's the perfect spot to put in little shadows. You know, if it was all just solid white, you wouldn't be able to sneak in these new little features here. There we go. A little more white. Coming in. More shadows. Now over here, who's to say if this is shining bright or deep in shadow? It's up to you to decide. I'm just kind of playing around and just sort of let whatever happens happen here. Throw a little on. I force myself just to stop, change the color, and do some shadow work. There we go. Look at that. Just sort of ignore what's going on here and just slowly working my way. Now over here, we got a nice big open area here. Which way is it gonna go? Tell you what, I just start with a little and put a shadow on there and see what happens. Maybe create more of a vertical feel on this side. Maybe there's just a little sheer cliff coming off. There we go. And if I bring this little highlight over a little more, And then I come back with my shadow color and lay it a little bit to the left, right on over that stuff in the back there. Create that sense of depth. There, it's a little more prominent now. Kind of like a little place where the snow melt kind of works its way down right there. I don't know. Just playing colors back and forth. Whatever's not highlight, add a little shadow, and whatever's not shadow, we give a little highlight. And sometimes here we just let them come right around and almost connect with one of these little spots, helping drive that sense of depth to our painting. A little bit more of a 3D effect. And you can always sort of trim off whatever extra highlight you had there. See, I just made it just disappear. Now, maybe a little bit of that background color snuck in here and there. These deep, deep areas. It's a little too much, just sort of rub and pick up some of the other colors and soften it a little bit. Little deep ridges happening back in there. Kind of like wherever it's nice and dark, maybe just make it a little darker than that. Add some depth to your scene. There we go. So, with just some simple little tippy taps, create a little mist and fog, trying to follow those basic angles to create a little blurriness, barely touching. Now you can stab a little bit or you can pat a little bit. I kind of teach both. I prefer the patting myself, so you get a little more control there. That aggressive stabbing with the tips there can soften it a whole lot faster than you might have wanted to. That's why I steer away from that myself, but to each their own. There we go. I don't know what we got going on down here. I think maybe we'll have a little foothill. I do like foothills. Let's see. Brown, black, blue. And then white to lighten things up. Look at that. That's the color from the previous class. Prussian blue, black, greens. What color do we want? Doesn't really matter. Maybe something just a little bit lighter to give us a little sense of distance still. This foothill's in front, but still kind of far away. Once again, creating a distinct outside edge. And then I'll start tapping, bringing it down a little bit. Kind of filling in and making this foothill a little bit more set into the scene. When it's all nice and flat at the bottom, it just starts to make sense to me. There we go. Now, if I were to take my tapping brush here, let's soften it even more. Not really trying to make it any lower, just creating a little bit of mist at the bottom. There you go. And then I come back with a little bit of that dark color. Make this whole pile a little darker. And let's make another little foothill. Oh, look at this. We're gonna cut this one off here. Lots of tapping. Let the bristles do the work. Tapping and bending. A little more paint. Now, if I were to come in here, oh boy, we don't have any. Oh, a little bit of blue left. Maybe a little bit of blue water. Simple to drop in a little water, isn't it? A little variation of color just helps it out. Gives it the little variation there. Boy, this canvas is definitely scuffed. Might have to cover that up. Now, just taking that color, making it even darker. No white in it this time. Maybe a little bit more of a, some land right down by the water here. And when you leave a little bit of that lighter color, just a little bit, that little light color acts as a little separator. There we go. And let's go ahead and clean this up just by pulling the bottom and turning it into reflection. So that, drift across. There we go. Indication of a water line just with a little titanium white. Cut a little water line there. I just remembered I was going to do a seascape today. Whoops, just a little too late. So maybe I think I got enough color here. Let's take our dark color, all our crimson, all that blue, some of this dark color that has green in it. Got some brown. Let's mix it all together and get a nice dark color. Well, a little bit to the green side. dark color, kind of green. That's the goal. Dark color, kind of green. So I pull and I smooth, grabbing some color and working it into my brush. Gotta have a couple of happy trees. And the only spot I had pink, I just immediately go and start to cover it up. So I'll move over a little bit so we can still see a little bit of that pink in the background. Tapping in just a basic shape here. Ooh boy, real rough looking tree. Let's drop in another. I think there's a little bit of light, thin, I should say, a little bit of thin color from my previous paintings' highlights. Kind of coming in a little strong there. That's okay. A little bit of dark paint here just to show you the land, the lay of the land. Oh, changed my mind. We got more land. We can do more stuff, right? Push up. Look at that little grasses and things happening. Now we'll clean out our brush a little bit, and I'm going to go into my highlight color. Highlight color is just cadmium yellow, little yellow ochre, and of course sap green, phthalo green to find my flavor. I got a little bit of sap green here. I can change it a little bit. There you go. It's a fairly thinned paint so that it'll stick to these evergreens. We just want to lightly tap and start working our way down, creating these little frowns, little clusters, little frowny frowns. And that slightly softer paint will stick to the darker shadow color and give us those nice little highlights. Dropping them in, working my way down. There we go. Now I'll change up the color a little bit. Some more greens, some more yellows, a little yellow ochre. You see how I push up, bending those bristles? Create this wild grass. Wild grass. Gotta find that angle, and then you really gotta jam that brush in there. And we try to work from the top down. You know, you don't want to keep going up and down, and keep going over the same bits, or else things can get a little muddy. Maybe a little darker here. It's an easy way to fill in a pretty big area rather quickly. And Bob will sometimes do the same jamming method with the 2-inch brush, with the 1-inch brush. Just creating all that texture there that from a distance, it always works better from the distance. A sense of texture, so wildness to this grass. A couple of sticks and twigs, drop in something there. And just like that, we've got a simple scene. Just running through a couple of fun little activities here, these last couple of paintings, just sort of seeing what happens. Not really much planning involved here. And sometimes, just going by the seat of your pants here, you can get some nice results. So, that being said, Thank you guys. I'll see you next time.